You know, this was supposed to be a masterpiece, a shining example of German engineering and a symbol of national pride. Instead, it became one of the most infamous, most expensive construction disasters of the 21st century. This is the unbelievable story of the Berlin Brandenburg Airport.
All right, so picture this. It's early 2012 in Berlin. The city is just buzzing with excitement. There's this brand new, ultra-modern airport that's just about to open its doors. The champagne is chilled, the shops inside are fully stocked, the tickets have all been sold. This was supposed to be a massive, massive party. And when I say massive, I am not kidding. 10,000 guests were invited for the grand opening. We're talking Chancellor Angela Merkel was on the list, her speech was already printed and ready to go. Lufthansa even had a special Airbus A380 lined up for this big ceremonial first landing. Everything was perfectly in place for a spectacular debut. And then the unthinkable happened. With less than a month to go, officials just pulled the plug. And we're not talking about a small delay here. This was a complete, indefinite cancellation. A project that had been years in the making suddenly slammed to a halt, kicking off a delay that would drag on for nearly a decade and turn a symbol of German pride into a global laughingstock. So what on earth went so wrong? I mean, how does this even happen? Well, to really understand this disaster, we have to go back to the very beginning. Because this airport, it wasn't just about planes and runways, it was deeply tied to the identity of a new, reunified Germany. Okay, so after the Berlin Wall comes down in 1990, the city is suddenly whole again. But it's being served by three small, frankly, outdated airports left over from the Cold War. They just weren't going to cut it for a major European capital. So the vision was pretty logical and powerful. Shut down the old ones and build one single, massive, state-of-the-art hub to be the gateway to the new Berlin. But here's the thing. The trouble started long before the first shovel ever hit the dirt. The very foundation of this project was flawed, a problem that some people now call the original sin of the Berlin Brandenburg Airport. Right from the get-go, it was a recipe for failure. Instead of hiring one experienced company to run the whole show, it was managed by three different government bodies. You can imagine what that led to. Constant political meddling, everybody wanting their say. With no single person in charge to say no, the plans kept changing, the budget kept growing, and the whole project became a playground for political egos. It's a classic case of what happens when accountability is spread so thin that nobody is really in charge. So, with that flawed foundation, construction finally gets going in 2006. And as that 2012 deadline got closer and closer, the sheer scale of the incompetence started to become clear. Investigators would eventually uncover what you could only describe as a museum of failures.
Okay, you have to hear about the most infamous flaw, the fire safety system. Now, we all know from basic physics class that in a fire, smoke goes up. But the architects, they wanted these beautiful, clean ceilings without any ugly exhaust fans. So they designed this revolutionary system to suck the smoke down through the floor. It was a perfect case of looks versus reality. And of course, it failed every single test, sometimes so spectacularly that the underground vents actually collapsed. And the problems just kept coming. Investigators found this colossal mess of wiring. We're talking 170,000 kilometers of cable. That is enough to wrap around the entire Earth more than 4 times. And it was all just a tangled, incorrectly installed nightmare. Then you get to the escalators. In what is just a mind-boggling error, dozens of them were simply built too short. I'm not kidding. They didn't actually reach the platforms they were supposed to connect to. Just completely useless. The safety blunders just continued. About 600 walls that were specifically supposed to be fire resistant, to contain a fire, were built with the wrong materials. They weren't fire resistant at all. A critical safety feature that was anything but safe. I mean, the absurdity was everywhere. The computer system that controlled the whole building was so complex and so poorly documented that for months, no one could figure out how to turn off the lights. Can you just imagine this giant, empty terminal sitting out there, just glowing uselessly in the German countryside night after night? But maybe the most surreal image of this whole fiasco is the ghost train. See, to stop the empty underground train station from getting moldy, the railway had to run empty trains through it every single day for 8 years, just to push air through a station for an airport that wasn't even open. So, with all these insane physical failures, you can probably imagine what happened to the budget. The project didn't just go a little bit over.
it spiraled into a total financial black hole. The numbers here are just staggering. The airport was initially planned to cost around $2.5 billion. By the time it was all said and done, the final price tag had ballooned to over $7 billion. The project didn't just go over budget, it nearly tripled in cost.
And that's not just a one-time cost. Every single day that the airport sat there empty, it was burning through about €1 million. €1 million a day in maintenance, security, and interest payments for years on end.
So who was responsible for that absolutely critical and totally broken fire system? Well, it turns out the man in charge wasn't actually an engineer. He was a draftsman who had faked his credentials. The person responsible for the most complex safety system in the entire project had just lied about his qualifications. Unbelievable.
After years of fixes, scandals, and firings, the airport eventually did open. But its long, painful journey left this permanent scar on its reputation and, frankly, on the legacy of German engineering. Just think about this timeline. Construction starts way back in 2006. The grand opening is famously canceled in 2012, and then it's not until 8 years later, in October 2020, right in the middle of a global pandemic that had basically shut down air travel, that the airport finally, quietly, opened its doors. You couldn't write a more ironic ending.
The dream was to build a crown jewel, a symbol of German precision. The reality? It became a global laughingstock that opened during a pandemic, with technology that was already obsolete on day one. It became a true white elephant, the direct result of all those foundational flaws that were set in motion years and years earlier.
In the end, the story of Berlin's airport is more than just a construction comedy. It's a profound lesson. It's a permanent, multi-billion-dollar monument to a single powerful question. What happens when bureaucracy and ego make you prioritize looking good over actually working well? The answer, it seems, is a $7 billion disaster.